all of my peaks have come when someone that I know has gotten a higher rank than me. Um, well,
That's hilarious.
most of them, I like when Overwatch 2 came out, I had never hit master in Overwatch 1, and like what the main tank for that team hit master like the first couple weeks of Overwatch 2, and I was like, well, that's unacceptable, and I hit master about 2 weeks later.
Mm,
Seeing peers do better than me is definitely a big like motivation.
sure. Why do you think that is? Is it just I don't want to be the worst kid in the lobby, or what?
I just have to be the best.
Okay.
Like it's different when like Super's better than me because Super is Super, and I
But
know
why
that's
is it
like not
different?
exact. So like I know that that's not the most logical way to think about things, and I think it's partially subconscious because in my head I know that Super is a person like anybody else. I know that I am a person like anybody else.
I know where you're going with this, and I totally agree. But Super is magical. He's not a real person somehow in your brain. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Okay, sorry, keep going. I assume that's what you're saying. I don't want to put words in your
Yeah,
mouth. Yeah,
exactly that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've done a good job of deconstructing that like thought process.
yeah.
But I still think it's partially there because like when I'm starting to get to the point where I'm getting in these streamer games
Yeah,
and it like it's like, oh, I'm like in a game
yeah.
with J3. What is this?
He's
So
real
like
now. Yeah,
yeah, he's real now, and like I'm kind of like trying to deconstruct
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because it's a it's a slippery slope. So let me break you down the problem here, and you're probably aware of this, but you want to be as internally motivated as you possibly can. And the reason for that
Yes.
is because external motivation is not something that you can rely on. And also, external motivation is a real quick way to burn you out because I think burnout happens when there's a gap between expectations and drive.
Hmm.
So for you, you might have really high expectations for yourself because now you're getting in streamer games. Maybe your peers are now like GM1, or you're scrimmaging with somebody who's GM, or your buddy got GM3, or you're on a team and everybody's like the average. But your internal motivation slash how much you enjoy the game slash how much you just really want to get better at the game doesn't match that. And so then you try and push yourself to match your expectations, and then you get burned out. That is something that's very dear to me because that was my Overwatch League experience where I wanted to get Overwatch League. It was my expectations for myself. And honestly, I had the skill for it, right? But I wasn't willing to make some of the sacrifices with living time, living situation, payment. I have a mortgage, right? Overwatch League pay is horrible for coaches. It's terrible. So I had a realization that if I'm going to force myself to be an Overwatch League coach, I'm not going to be a happy person at all. I'm going to be constantly and chronically burned out. So then I pulled the plug. So for you, the reason why I'm concerned about this external motivation is not because external motivation is necessarily bad. It just has a tendency to push you outside of your comfort zone. And it also has a tendency to lie to you because it tells you that you want to be the Overwatch GOAT. But if I'm being honest with you, do you really want to be the Overwatch GOAT? Or do you just want to be the Overwatch GOAT because you want to be the best within your lobby? Do you see what I'm saying? What's really
Uh,
motivating you here?
Definitely want to be the best. So like the other thing that definitely drives me with this, I haven't figured out like so like there's like a logical drive and then there's like a in practice drive, I guess if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
when I logically think through the things, like to me it's very important to I want to use this as an opportunity to learn how to learn better. The skills that I want to get out of this are primarily the skills that will apply to other places if the Overwatch dev team decides to just delete the game tomorrow.
right.
Like, so there is that, and then like I do have a very like I want to be the best at something because like
Sure,
we all only have like 80 years, so like
sure.
if I'm not the best at something, I'm not like it's hard to put it into words, but like I just have to be the best at something while I'm here.
Sure, you're a very competitive person. Do you love Overwatch?
Yes.
Okay, because that's the number one thing. When people talk about like being the best at anything, if you don't love what you're doing, you're not going to be able to be the best at it without again being a miserable person. So, hmm. Okay. As long as you can say that, as long as you can say, I want to be the best because I really enjoy putting in that many hours into the game and taking it that seriously, then you're good to go. Because everyone talks about the drive, right? Well, the reason you get the drive to work hard when you really want something, not just through like personal discipline. Like, for example, why are you a bodybuilder?
No.
Why not? Are you lazy? What's wrong with you?
No.
What's wrong with you? Why are you that lazy? Why don't you get up every morning at 5:30 and work out for 2 hours? What's wrong with you? You're a lazy person, aren't you? You don't want to be the best. You don't have what it takes, right? Do you see the flaw with that logic, right?
Yes.
It's just something that
absolutely.
you just don't care that much about that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So for you, it's like, as long as Overwatch isn't that for you, there's nothing inherently virtuous about dominating at anything. And in fact, a lot of the goats of different passions were not very happy people, and generally not even very good people either. So I'm not discouraging you from being the GOAT. I don't think that you have to be an unpleasant or miserable person to be the GOAT. But just know that being the GOAT isn't a great goal in of itself, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And I say this as a very competitive person who has been very good at many different things, if I do say so myself. So I will caution you before I fuel you with what you're aiming for. Sound good?
All right. Yeah.
Okay.